Sorry, I was just wondering. I know you talked about this a little bit, but were the two of you planning on kind of reworking the whole song itself, or adding on to the ideas that were keeping the pre-existing lyrics and just adding on to it, or actually altering what was already there?
Well, I talked to Richard that we could about approaching it either way. I said we can modify or we can start from scratch. I said it doesn't even need to be called Worth It All anymore. I think it's a cool idea, you know. So I think hanging on to the title Worth It All is interesting. But if we change our whole point of view and not ask the question, but make the statement, you know, then I think it would be really a unique opportunity to go back and look at something from the other side. So I was open to either way, to changing some of the lines or all of the lines. So some of the lines still worked, from the perspective of where we were looking at now. And again, when I collaborate, when I write with somebody, um, you know, m- especially for something as unique as this, where it's a very personal gift. Um, like in other words, there was another song I wrote with a friend who wanted to write a song for her husband when she got married, and her husband's a recording artist and somebody famous and a mutual friend, and so we were writing a song together. But I needed to be um, sensitive to not me putting words in her mouth because I wasn't the one who was marrying that person; it was her. So it was the same thing. I didn't want to impose my perspective on Richard and limit him in any way. I just wanted to help guide him and certainly inspire him and give him ideas and brainstorm. And so we threw ideas back and forth. But uh, I was pretty critical with him and said, well, let's make this more clear. This line actually um, seems like there could be more that could be said there. I mean, it's an interesting line, but actually it could be a great line. If we're gonna, now that we're talking about it, it's like you put on a new set of clothes, you're getting dressed and you look at something and you grab a few items and you go, I love this shirt, but this shirt's really not the best shirt to go with this jacket. How about this shirt? It's not that there's anything wrong with this shirt. So, I said, don't limit yourself, say whatever you want. And if you want to completely throw the lyrics out and start over, let's do that. If we want to take some of the lines and keep them, do that. So we ended up keeping things, and adding and adjusting and using the general, we kept a fair amount of the song. But I was still encouraging him to add more clarity and kind of create a unique twist on a new perspective on the song. And I think, you know, that's part of the beauty of opening this up to other songwriters as well. In creating uh, a contest and an opportunity to get other people's perspectives and to see what that means to them. And I would hope that their experience would be the same as what Richard's and mine were, in that we look at something, we look at a song, and say, well, how do I relate to what they're saying? Do I agree? Do I not agree? What the things that resonate with you, you sing. The things that you don't, you say something different that gives your perspective. And I think there's a lot of possibility here. So it's not just about writing the last verse. I mean, that's one way to approach it and go, well, now here's how do we end this so that it has a different perspective. But I personally, as an artist and a songwriter and a friend of both Mark and Richard who wrote this song, um, and somebody who used to play it, with them when we were all in our 20s, I think it's much more interesting to look at this and say, how can I put my spin on this, whatever that means to you as an artist, you know, and it might just mean that somebody might, you know, listen to the words that Richard and Mark, the song that they created many, many years ago, it might resonate for them exactly the same now, if they're 20, or 30 years old, and they might go, yeah, right on. I totally agree. They might, just have one line that they change that kind of makes it a little gives it a little shift, a little different perspective or something. So it's a really lovely way for people to express themselves and how they feel about life and love and beauty and integrity and because I mean, is what worth it all? I don't know, getting up in the morning and making sure your kids get off to school, and have a good lunch, or doing great at work and really having integrity about what you do at your job, or being an athlete and trying to add an extra mile to your workout, or is that worth it all? The pain, the physical pain of running, you know, 15 miles instead of 10 miles? I think it is. You might not feel like it while you're doing it. I mean, there's so many things that you can say about it, but it's all ultimately universally the same story. We have a shared common experience as people.
Um, just because you talk so much with Richard about this, how do you think that he would feel knowing that essentially strangers are going to be getting to know, honestly, a very intimate part of him?
Um, I don't know. Richard might be a little embarrassed about the attention, but I think he would be pleased. I think he would be pleased. I think he would be frustrated that we didn't get to finish it, and say what it was that he was really hoping to say. But actually, I think he did. Because just in the couple of lines that we came up with, regardless of whether we finished it or not, I still got to share that with Anne Marie. So she knew what he was trying to say.
And what do you think that something like this could mean for a band? I don't know, like what is it? I guess for you as a songwriter, that you've done this before in your younger years and still now, and what do you think it could mean for them to partake in this kind of competition? We know that it's meaningful for us, but
Right.
what kind of experience do you think? How is it a positive opportunity for them?
I think that this has the opportunity or the potential to be a very positive experience for any songwriter, any artist, any band, anybody who writes music, because it's an interesting creative writing challenge, that is reflective of real life um, experiences, or not even experiences, but uh, challenges. I mean, as a songwriter, sometimes I'm asked to write about something in particular. I might sit down with an artist who's writing for an album, and they want very specifically to talk about one thing. Or I might be writing a song for a TV show or a movie where the the name of the movie is what the story has to be about, regardless of whether I have a deep connection to that storyline or not. I, as a writer, need to be able to find a way that's an honest way and a true way to me to get inside of that experience and imagine what it would be like to think about that from that point of view and then to express it. So I think it's a great songwriting opportunity and challenge, as from a creative point of view. For somebody to get to come in and get their hands on somebody else's um, creation, and just to say, something, I agree with what that is, or I have a completely different way of looking at this, and I'm going to express this, and because it does is it stimulates creativity. It stimulates a dialogue, and I'm all for a different point of view. So I think, you know if you are a songwriter or have a band, and you have an open mind and an open heart and a natural curiosity about songwriting and lyrics, and then this is a really interesting chance to put your stamp on something that already exists. And regardless of whether this was a hit song or a song that was just a very personal song to a small group of people, it's still it's a creative expression from people who deeply care about music, and it's another opportunity to open that up and share it with people that we haven't even met yet. I think it's kind of cool. It's not something I would have thought to do, but as soon as the idea was presented to me, I thought, why not? Could be pretty interesting.
All right. Is there anything else that you want to add? I don't have any more particular things to ask you, but if there's anything else that you feel like might need to make the cut.
Um, I'm looking forward to hearing what other people come up with all of you out there. Um, and I'm just going to be one of many people that are listening and appreciating and enjoying, maybe laughing about some things or crying or I don't know what. I expect that this is going to be moving, and in some ways for us that get a chance to listen to what you have to say, and hopefully in some way it's moving for you as well too, and that's all we can all ask for. It's creative expression, that we all share together. So I think we're gonna have some nice surprises with this.
All right. Thank
Okay.
you so much. I really appreciate you
Okay.
squeezing in your day to
Sure.
talk to me for however long.
Yeah, so now you get the scissors out, right? And
No,
start.
I'm not involved in it at all. I'm just setting it off, and um, Anne-Marie and Noelle are gonna work on editing whatever they feel like they need for
Right.
video. So I'm just the conduit. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Right. So if it turns out that you need anything else or you want me to elaborate, we can always do another one.
Okay.
Remind me what shirt I'm wearing if we need continuity. Yeah.
Well, we have it on video, so if we need to look it up again, we can.
And so Reby, if you need me, I see you. I'm looking at you. If you want a soundbite or something else that you want me to do, just let me know. We'll get it done. You and I can do that together, right?
Me?
Yeah. You. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Reby anymore. So we can always do this again. It's not a big deal.
Okay, good. Well, I'm gonna send it to her tonight, and she asked me to call her when we are done speaking. So hopefully we're all good. But if there's not, I'll be able to let you know as soon as she tells me. So
Yeah, don't worry. I mean, I think we have more than enough to work with, but
yeah.
don't feel uncomfortable about saying, "Can we do this also?" I'm happy to do that.
Well, thank you so much. You're such a good speaker. You're an easy person to ask questions to.
Questions. Reviews that have been a little more challenging because the host doesn't really ask very good questions. So you steered me in a good direction. But this is, I mean, of course, this is, it's dear to my heart. So it's easy to talk about.
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Well, have a good night. I'm
Okay.
going to shut you off and send you away. Bye.
Bye bye.